Hey guys, I'm Abby. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm starting a new quilt, or not really starting it, working on it some more, because if you saw my vlog a couple of videos back when I still didn't have my sewing machine, I occupied my time by cutting out a lot of fabrics and things to get prepared for when I finally get my machine back. So today I'm working on one of those quilts. I'm really excited to work on it because I really love the fabric and the maker and the line that it is, but also just to get this pattern done because I really like the look of it. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started. I really hope to power through a lot of quilts and projects now that I have my machine back, and just like get things out of my room to like make more room for more projects, of course. But I'll show you which quilt it is and which pattern and such. I'll also try to link the video of where I cut out like 3 quilts and a couple other things and talk about other things when I didn't have my machine. But let's look at this quilt. So the pattern is this Nightingale pattern by Lo and Behold Stitchery. I think it's really pretty, and for this I used a package of fat quarters that had like 20 patterns. And if you watched the vlog, this is the fabric that I cut out. It's an art gallery line. I think it's called like Into the Wild or Wildflower or something wild. I know I tell you in the vlog, so if you want to watch that and get the name of it, you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, it has lots of pinks, browns, and this a dark green, which I love, and art gallery fabric is just so nice. And as you can see, I already cut everything out, so now I can start working on the quilt. We'll see. I am making the large throw, so the second to largest one, and that uses 20 fat quarters plus the background. But I did all the cutting, and so now I have to just start with these half square triangles, which are these, but I have to go and mark my diagonal across these, because usually if they're like smaller squares I just sew them without marking, but since these are larger squares I'm gonna go ahead and mark the diagonal, and then I get to sew them onto these. But yeah, this is the next step is to make flying geese, and this is my first time making flying geese, so that will be a fun experiment, I guess. It looks like a simple process that I've seen done before. So yeah, time to get started marking up these squares and sewing them together. I don't think this quilt will take too long to get through. It's nice since I already have everything cut. I just have to like sew it all together. I mean, obviously I have to cut pieces in between and everything. But yeah, I've had this chair full of quilts cut out for a couple, like a month or 2 now. So yeah, I can really start powering through a lot of projects and get things done and clear out my space a bit. So I'm excited. And I haven't finished a quilt since last year. So let's get started. I finished ironing all of my half squares. I do still have to trim them, but this is the only ruler I own, so I'm gonna go ask my mom if she has one that's gonna work better, because these, I don't know, measure like 6 inches and they need to be 5.5, and I just can't really figure out how to use it with this. So I'm just gonna move on to sewing the flying geese. So I have to like mark up the back of these again and then sew them onto here, you know, cut them and everything. But I think at the end you also have to trim these. I will also see if my mom has a ruler for that. But yeah, so we're gonna start on the flying geese by marking up the backs of all these and then sewing them onto here. Yeah, and like I said, this is my first time making flying geese, so hopefully I don't screw it up. Okay, so I'm not done with my flying geese, but that's because I messed up. So as you can see, there's 4 squares to each color. Well, it turns out I ran out of white and I was like, what did I do wrong? Turns out you're only supposed to sew 2 of them on a white square, and then the other 2 go like on the other side. So I wasn't supposed to make 2 of each. So now I have to go through and undo half of what I just sewed. So yeah, I have to fix this so I can have more white squares to do the other colors that I've not gotten to yet. I already messed up, but thankfully this is a easy fix. But yeah, I was only supposed to make 1 of these per color thing, because then this one will be like cut in half and then the other one will be sewed on that corner. So yeah, I have to go through and unstitch half of those, half of these, and then finish sewing the rest of them. So yay, first mess up of the day. So it's been a while since I worked on this quilt just because I've been out of town and gone, but I've been able to work on it the last few days. But I'm actually leaving to go out of town again tomorrow, only for a few days, so I can work on it when I get back. But this quilt, I finished the flying geese. I still have to trim them, but I figured out how to use my ruler to trim the blocks down. After I saw a random video on Instagram, it helped me like think of it differently. But I'm still trying to figure out if I can use my ruler to trim the flying geese. If not, I can just borrow something from my mom. But I have the squares all trimmed to their correct size. I just have to trim the flying geese, but I'm not gonna do that until like I get back, so I can like still try to figure it out or just ask my mom. But I think next, I'll show you guys the pattern real quick. So I did the squares and I did the flying geese. I just have to trim them. But next is like assembling. I might skip this part because, you know, I haven't trimmed them yet, so I might just go to this part today. Since I'm going out of town, I want to get a little bit more done. So I think I can start on this. I'm gonna like figure out how I want to like select which colors go with which. But, you know, I have all these done. All the flying geese are made, you know, just need to be trimmed. So I fixed my mistake and was able to finish these. But yeah, I might just go on to this part now because I want to get a little bit more done before I leave again. Since I'm gone so much, I haven't been able to really work on anything. So I just really want to get some stuff done. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna start like laying out different combinations, since I have like, there's like 3 main groups. There's like the pinks, the oranges, and then the greens. I might try to start like matching them together and start sewing these together. Cause since there's like 3 in a block, so like here they have the pink and then the dark pink and then the orange. I think if I choose like a pink, an orange, and then like a green, I can start putting these together and like mix them all up. So that's what I'm gonna start doing today. Hopefully I can get maybe a few more done. Obviously I have to wait until I trim the flying geese to like get a lot done, but to like keep moving forward, I'm gonna start that this afternoon. So yeah, this quilt is just taking a while, but that's just because I'm taking breaks. But other than that, it's pretty easy. I just need this is like a quilt where my ruler isn't like straightforward how to use it. So I did figure out the half square blocks, but now I have to figure out if I can use it on the flying geese or I have to borrow one from my mom. But I'm going to get started on making those crosses in the middle and hopefully get a little further today so I can get back to it when I get back. Okay, so I have all my matches up. So I had 7 oranges, 7 greens, and 6 pink. So I started with the pink and just picked like a green, orange, and so I switched them every time, but I made sure that none of the stripes and the bigger pieces match with like the opposite of it. So I think we got a good combination here, and I tried to match like a solid with a print, like a really busy print. I think at the end I have like more like prints with prints, but all the solids are with busier prints. So yeah, now I can start sewing these together, and then when I get to sewing the flying geese on, then I can like, so this one has a pink and then a green, I can connect an orange to that one and have like all 3 colors in each square. So hopefully that will work out. I think since there's one less pink, I might have like an orange, green, orange, or you know, green, orange, green, one of those like in the block, but they'll be spread out pretty evenly. So now I can start sewing all these together. So I finished all of these like cross square pieces, and then I went and matched the pieces to the outside because these are gonna, you know, go together. And then I went around and just laid out, I haven't trimmed these yet, but I laid them out and kind of started making matches. This is just the first layout. I probably will move some around, but that's how I went about it because these are gonna be sewn to the smaller pieces. But yeah, these, I tried to, you know, do like a brown, a pink, and a green all together, but I'm gonna have to like go through and probably move some. But yeah, this is how I went about like matching and trying to not get any pieces together. So once I trim all these, I can start piecing them together and start making the squares and make sure I have like each color scheme, or try to have each color scheme in each square. And I'm also trying to like pick, like these two are very dark, so I tried to pick a light with it. So yeah, I'm probably gonna move some around, but I just wanted to show my like process of how I like matched them up before sewing them together. I think that kind of helped. And I figured you can probably do this like the opposite way, like if I sewed these to these pieces first and then tried to like match it with the center, like if you went in order of the actual directions. But since I skipped, I'm kind of doing it backwards. But if you want like an idea of how to like go about matching all these together and not having, you know, two the same, or, you know, having each of each color scheme, like if you have 3 like me, that's how I did it. So that's one thing, but there's some I'm not extremely like set on, so I will probably move these around later. But this is just the initial like test run of laying all the colors out to see how they show up. So now I just have to trim my triangles and then start sewing all the pieces together. So I finally went and got this wing clipper ruler from my mom, and so I was able to clip my flying geese to their size, and so now I can start sewing them to the other pieces and then really start putting my blocks together. I have them all separated into their block coordinating things that I wanted, that I had all laid out. I moved it a couple places from the last time I showed you guys, but I have them all picked out. A lot of them have like all 3 colors in the block. A few of them are a little different, but I have them all put together. I have like my geese, the pieces that sew to the geese, and then the matching cross that I've already finished kind of all set up here. So now I can really start putting them together, sewing those together, and then I can start putting the blocks together. So kind of in the home stretch right now. So yeah, I can really start putting them together, and then I think the next part is laying them out and picking out where I want to put each block once I have them all made. So I'm gonna start sewing these together now and making the full block. I got all of my blocks done and sewn together. I think they look really well. I really like all the combinations with this fabric line. You can see I laid some out just to like take a picture. So I think they turned out so well. So now I just have to start laying them out and figure out how I want to put them in the quilt. Yeah, so one tip when you're like laying them out is to take pictures, and I just take them on my phone, and I like to lay it out first, take a picture, and then kind of move things around that I might want to in a different place, and then take another picture. It's really easy to compare each layout, and also I don't know what it is, but like looking at it in person and then looking at it in the picture, you can really see like areas that don't work as well that you don't really see just with your eyes. So it's really helpful. And then also I'm probably gonna send them to my mom and sister and get their opinions on different layouts. So I always suggest taking pictures when you're like laying out a quilt. It really helps, even if you don't send it to other people. It helps to see the difference between each layout, and just looking at the picture you can see what needs to change, maybe if like one area is too dark or one area is too light. So just helps the quilt layout overall. If it's not a quilt that like needs a certain like pattern like this, I can lay out the blocks anywhere I want. So it really helps see the whole quilt by taking pictures. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. It's been a productive morning of sewing. I have threads all over my shirt, which I think is a good sign of a sewing session. So yeah, I'm just going to start laying out, and then once I pick a layout, start sewing them together. It's also nice once I have the layout I want to have a picture of a reference, so I know where I want everything and how to like sew them together. So I'm gonna start putting them on the floor to lay them out and see how it goes. But I think this quilt is gonna be really cute, and I can't wait to see it all put together. Okay, so it's been a while since I worked on this quilt, but I was out of town and such. But I finally picked a layout. I did a few different ones and sent pictures to people like, hey, how do you like this? How do you like this? And this is what we're going with. So yeah, this is what it's gonna look like. I just now have to sew it all together. I wanted to make sure that like the main parts, like if this one, like this word one, since it's like the second main part, it wasn't like near it with this as the main part. With all the patterns, there's some like this little cross section might be near like one of the bigger parts, but since you can't see this as much, like see this one, I think it's close, but it's not that one. So there are some sort of like that, but I didn't worry about the cross section as much. I was mostly focused on these main two parts to make sure they weren't close to their other parts. I wanted to make sure each like all the big green ones were like far away, so it wasn't like one area with a lot of big green and then like light in one area. So yeah, this is what I came up with. So now I just have to sew it together and this quilt will be done. I don't have like a back or a binding for this. So yeah, once I have the top sewn together, it's gonna be done. And then I eventually have to find a back and binding, but that can wait. But yeah, let's just sew this all together. I'm really excited. I think it looks great just like this, like laid out, so I can't wait to see it all together. Let's get sewing. So I'm halfway through sewing this together, looking really good. I sewed them by rows like this, so I just have to sew all these together. But I'm halfway through, so I just, gotta put those together. But I'm gonna take a little break and then come back this afternoon because I'm sweating. Looking really good, almost done. Really excited to see it. Oh, please look at my sewing buddy just being so cute here. He's been just laying there the whole time I've been walking back and forth. Okay, so I have finished my quilt top. It's nice to finally have it done. I don't have a backing or binding for this, so I don't have to prepare that. So basically, I'm done with this quilt until I get those things. So yeah, it turned out fantastic. I don't really have a lot of light here. It's about to start pouring down rain, hopefully. So yeah, this is my quilt top. It's nice to finally get it done and get a quilt done. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am trying to get a lot of my things done to like clear out space in my room, and I will try to film them. This quilt took a while to finish just because I took long breaks. I was gone for a while, but yeah, now it's done and I can like move on to the next thing. I have like finished other projects in between that where I didn't like film or anything because they were like projects for friends and trips, and yeah, I did not film them or really document them. But finally have a quilt top done. I can move on to the next quilt. I think the next two I'm gonna do are like postcard quilts, so they'll be like pretty simple. I know I have the fabric already cut out because I cut it out a long time ago when I didn't have a sewing machine. But yeah, I'm done with this quilt, and this is where I'm gonna end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one, and can't wait to make more beautiful things. Bye guys.